Hello and welcome to ACS Golf and this week's review where I'm looking at this. The Ping G425 Max driver. Really excited about looking at this driver for you guys. I've tried the LST version of this, so do check out the channel for that review. But I haven't tried the Max and I wanted to get my hands on this club to test for you guys for two reasons. Number one, obviously you've got the G430 or G430 that obviously came out in 2023, and then you've got the G430 Max 10K that came out this year. And because they brought out that extra 10K driver, it meant that a lot of people who had the G430s ended up selling them to get this G430 10K Max, which meant that the G425, which normally holds their value really well because Ping releases their drivers normally every 2 years, has dropped down in value. So technically, because of this new driver that Ping brought out to that G430 lineup, the price of these has dropped, and therefore you can pick up a potentially a really good bargain. Because if you look at a lot of the reviews of this club and then look at a lot of reviews for the G430 Max, and not the 10K, just the G430 Max, a lot of them say there's no difference between the G430 Max and this one, the G425 Max, even though you know this came out in 2021. So again, potentially you could save yourself a lot of money by getting this. And also there's another reason I wanted to pick it up, because one of my viewers actually who left a comment down below when I did the G400 Max driver, commented about how that was already at that 10K mark, that a lot of the clubs this year, a lot of the brands are really pushing 10K MOI. Mentioned that this also gets to 10K MOI. If you put it that way at the back, which I have it right now, in that fade setting, this becomes a 10K driver, which I find really weird. This year, Ping have been pushing, look, we've got this 10K Max driver, this fantastic, most forgiving driver ever, obviously tailor-made, the QI10, the idea of quest for inertia of 10,000, so MOI. But Ping have already done it. They already did it pretty much with the G400 Max years ago in 2018, and they've done it with this as well in 2021. So I find it really weird that Ping have been pushing this new 10K when they've already reached it. And if you see the reviews and everything like that, they even mention that they reach it with this. So really quite interesting, and that's why I wanted to pick it up as well, just to see, obviously see this movable weight doesn't make a difference, and by putting it in this position, how forgiving truly is this driver. So there you go. Now, as always with all these reviews, what I'm going to do is going to have a closer look at the club, come back here, talk through all the technology that's in this club, get down to range, throw some figures at you, and then come back here for the ACS Golf Scale. Okay, first things first, let's have a closer look at this club. So there you go, a closer look at the club. You can always tell it's a Ping with those turbulators on the top there. Some people hate them, some people like them. Personally for me, I do quite like them because I think it does help with aligning the club up. And on the bottom, no smart look, as you would expect with a Ping club. Now going into obviously all the technology that's in this club, so I'm reading off actually the Ping's website. So first things first, highest MOI. So in the Max, total MOI pushes a record 10,000. So there you go, the 10,000 mark. And by putting this way into the fade setting, you hit it. Largely due to 26 gram tungsten, there it is, movable weight that shifts the CG lower and further back and can be secured in the neutral, draw or fade setting. They've got internal Dragonfly with Dragonfly technology, weight savings from the TI, so titanium 811 ultra thin crown are redistributed within the head and back weight to increase MOI and optimize the CG for more distance and forgiveness. So this was a full titanium head, no carbon in here. Again with the G430 Max, again no carbon in there apart from the LST model, which was the first carbon they ever used, was the G430 LST. First carbon that Ping had put in the clubs. I don't know if ever, but definitely over recent years, until the G430 Max 10K, where they actually put carbon again in there. So maybe when they release a maybe G435 perhaps, I don't know what the name is, next year, I can imagine 2024, because that's what they normally do every 2 years. It might be carbon throughout the whole set, but we'll wait and see there. But at the moment with this one, there was no carbon in here. Moving on, you've got precision forged face. So proprietary high strength precision machined T9S plus forged face, maximize flexing, deliver fast ball speeds and more distance. Just going back to that internal Dragonfly, by the way, even though it wasn't carbon, the whole point, it's an ultra thin one. So you can, again, exactly the same as having a carbon head, redistribution of the weight. So you can move it further back, increase MOI and optimize the CG for more distance and forgiveness. So even though it wasn't carbon, it's still the same thing. So there you go. So moving on, you've got aerodynamic design. So refined crown turbulators reduce aerodynamic drag for increased swing speed and ball velocity. So there you go. Moving on again, because like I said, lots of technology in here. Internal ribbing. Ping engineers develop an internal rib structure in the TI 811 body, reinforcing key sections of the head to improve acoustics for a solid, pleasing sound and better feel. You either like the sound of a Ping or you do not. It's a full titanium head. It is loud. Personally, I don't like the sound of the Pings. Definitely down the driving range when we hit this thing is ear piercing. But I know a lot of people out there do like them. And if you can get past that, then great. But for me, so loud. It's ear crackling, really is loud. So I don't know where they're saying about a pleasing sound, because I don't particularly believe that. But anyway, moving on, we've got easy adjustability. So trajectory tuning 2.0 utilizes a lightweight aerodynamic hosel sleeve. There it is. Oh, just hooked on something there, but there you go. That provides 8 positions to customize the trajectory for maximum distance and accuracy. So you can increase the loft by 1.5 degrees, decrease the loft by 1.5 degrees, and more importantly, keep it in that neutral position. Tailor-made, when you start fiddling around with the lofts, you do actually close the club face or open up a little bit. And you do have an option as well with this that you can increase it by 1 degrees and close it by, increase the loft by 1 degrees and decrease the loft by 1 degrees, but also make it more flat. So therefore closing that club face, which also helps to reduce slices if you do have that. But then again, like I said, you've got that move away at the back where you can put it in that draw setting again to help you in the slice. Stock shaft, Ping stock shafts over the years have been great. Now I got a stiff here, 55, very good. Quite light shafts, I will say, so do be aware of that. I personally prefer something a little bit heavier because they are very light. But there you go. And then head cover, nice, good looking, solid thing. Can't complain. All right, guys, so there's all the technology that's in this club. Now let's get down to the range. Going to throw some figures at you, and then we'll come back here for the ACS Golf Scale and my overall thoughts about this driver.
Here I am down at the range. Now for me, with my driver, I'm looking on an average of about 250 total yards, ball speed around that 150 miles per hour mark, and swing speed around sort of 97, 98 miles per hour. Now with this driver, total carry, I had 218 yards, total distance 245 yards, ball speed 147 miles per hour, launch angle 10 and height 67 feet with a swing speed of 96.2 miles per hour. So a little bit down from what I would want. Now, however, with this club though, what I felt I could do is, because it's so stable, because it was so consistent, I could really go for it. And when I really went for it, then suddenly everything jumped up. And then suddenly I was getting a carry of 230 yards for one, total distance 252. Ball speed 151 miles per hour. Longest on the day was 239 total yards carried, 265 total yards. Ball speed 149 miles per hour, launch angle 11, height 83. So it really did give me the confidence to really go for it with this driver.
So there you go. So 245 yards on average. For me with the driver, I do look around that 250 mark. So not great on average, to be fair. But then with Ping, they're not built for distance. They are built for accuracy and forgiveness. You know, the whole idea is, yes, I might be on average 5 yards further down the fairway, but with the Ping, I'm going to be hitting more fairways. You know, with other clubs, I might be in the bushes, in the woods, you know, in lakes, who knows? But the idea with this is, yes, it might not go as far, but you're going to be in play a lot more, which, in the day, is more important. If I'm honest, you know, if someone says you can be on the fairway every single time and lose 10 yards off your drive, I will take that without even thinking about it. So yeah, 245 yards, not the end of the world, to be fair. And one thing I will mention about this club as well is because of how easy it is to hit, which I really did find with it, because I got so much confidence about its forgiveness, about its high MOI, you know, I really did feel like I could really go for it. So, you know, really going for this. I had quite a few, to be fair, over 250 when I started to really ranking up that speed. You know, a couple I had around 252, one 257 total yards. Longest on a day was a carry of 239, total distance 265 yards, ball speed 149 miles per hour. So, you know, I could get up the figures up there. Don't get me wrong. If I'm really going for it, like with a tailor-made, for example, like the Stealth 2 that I reviewed recently, well, the Stealth 2 Plus I reviewed recently, Stealth 2 I reviewed last year. You know, with that, if I'm really going for it, I'm suddenly looking at 270 plus. So, yes, again, it's not as long as those clubs, but let's be honest with this, I was probably finding the middle of the fairway more, you know, than I would have done with those Stealth 2 if I was going at it sort of full hog. Now, I'd have confidence to do this on the course and go at this full power, while the Stealth 2 wouldn't necessarily do it just because I'd be worried about exactly where it's going to end up. Majority of the time, it could end up, you know, down the middle of the fairway, but there'd be a few where it might suddenly just ping off to the right or something like that. When this, I'd have the confidence that it would stay on that fairway. So there you go. Now, let's get into the ACS golf scale now then. So remember, we've got distance, field, looks, price, and forgiveness. So distance, 5 being the best, 1 being the worst. I'm still going to give it a 3 out of 5. It is not the shortest driver out there by no means. So, you know, don't pick this up and think, oh my God, it's not going to go anywhere. You know, it is still longer than probably, you know, your TaylorMade, your more forgiving TaylorMade clubs, or your really forgiving Callaway clubs, you know, this will still compete with them. So yeah, so 3 out of 5, you know, 245 on average, not great, but not the end of the world, to be honest. You know, it's not like it's 10 yards or 15 yards shorter than my average. And like I mentioned, you know, when I really did go for it, I was getting some really nice figures, like 265 yards. Very happy with that. So 3 out of 5, pretty decent average sort of distance out of it. You know, a little bit above average, I'd say, you know, when it comes down to modern drivers, but it's not going to be the longest out there. So do be aware of that. You know, if you want a Ping and you want the longest, then start looking at the LST, you know, because that is built more for distance and still with some great forgiveness, by the way. But yes, so there you go. Moving on to feel, 4 out of 5. Really like the feel of it, to be fair. You know, some nice hits across the face, some unfortunate misses as well, and it just felt solid. You know, really solid. Felt like I could really go for it. And felt pretty soft, to be fair, as well. Definitely an improvement from the G400 Max I tried this year as well. You know, I definitely do like the feel of this. So 4 out of 5. Moving on to looks, 4 out of 5. I think it's just a good looking club. You know, I quite like the turbulators on top. It does help me, you know, line the ball. You know, I like the black and that sort of silver look. It's very, very nice. My only issue is it's a big club head because it is a max. You know, that's the whole point of it. I prefer something a little bit more compact. So there you go. Moving on to forgiveness. You know, what can I say? I'm not going to say anything else. 5 out of 5. It is one of the most forgiving drivers out there. You know, it's Ping, you know it's going to be, and it really, really is. 5 out of 5. And just talking about moving this back weight, you know, around as well, you know, having in that fade setting, I found, you know, really did increase the forgiveness a little bit, but nothing I'd really noticed, to be fair, because it is already such a high forgiving driver. Um, and also by moving it there, you know, I always have a draw setting, so I always hit my driver generally with a draw. By moving that in there, it did change a little bit, maybe straighten out a little bit, but it wasn't overpowering. So I wasn't scared to move that into there to still get maximum forgiveness. You know, sometimes you might think if I put it in the face, I'm going to be slicing left, right, and center. I didn't find that. Obviously, there was a slight movement with it. And when I put it into the draw setting as well, I did sort of, the draws were a little bit stronger, but nothing too exaggerated. Sorry, you know, I wasn't ever looking and going, oh my God, that's miles that way or that's miles that way. And to be fair, you know, it's a huge amount of movement at the back there. So yeah, it does make a difference, but not a huge amount. And it does mean that, you know, if you do hit the club with a draw or straight, you want maximum forgiveness, you want to put in the fade setting, you're not suddenly going to be slicing the ball left, right, and centre. So that is good. You know, it does move it a little bit, but not too much. But yes, forgiveness, 5 out of 5. I wouldn't expect anything less from this club, which is one of the most forgiving clubs still out there. Now, moving on to price. So I've averaged this out actually. If you look in the second-hand market, I think about 3 out of 5 still. You know, eBay, I've seen them go for like £250. That's about $320. 230, so it's about $290. Seen a few under £200, which is great. The LST model you can get under £200, so that's under that sort of $225, or $230 more likely. Sorry. Um, but with this, you're going to find it hard to find it under £200. So I think anything around that sort of £220 mark, I think you're looking quite good, which is probably about like what, $270. I think it's a really good deal. Going into Golf Bidder though, so second-hand market, and then suddenly looking at £275, you know, you're looking then about $340. Really sort of cranks up a bit. And then you sort of look at that and we go, well, hold on, I can save myself money by going for cheaper options. You know, Mizuno STX, which is their 2030 last year, drawbars, very forgiving. Callaway Paradigm was cheaper than this. Golf Bidder and Callaway Paradigm was one of the best drivers out last year. You know, TaylorMade Stealth 2 was cheaper. Wilson Stuff Dynapower was cheaper. You know, the Sim 2 is cheaper. All these clubs, I think you get more distance in this. You might not get the same amount of forgiveness, but the paradigm's not going to be hugely far off that, to be fair. It was such a good driver last year. So there you go. So second-hand market, I'm getting it a 3 out of 5. However, brand new, this is 5 out of 5. Because brand new, you can still pick this up for £340 over here. Well, £349 I've seen over here in the UK. In the US, $400. You can save yourself pretty much £200 by getting this, and $200 by getting this over the G430 Max. And the G430 Max is no different from this. So if you want a brand new driver, want to get fitted, want maximum forgiveness, want to be hitting fairway after fairway, this is the club. Believe me, you know, £350, cannot complain about brand new club this quality. You know, again, $400, you know, you're saving yourself £200, $200. The G430 Max 10K is a little bit of a different beast. It doesn't have the adjustability of this, but for that, they've actually managed to make it quite low spinning. So therefore, you can actually get some really good distance out of that one over this and over the G430 Max as well. So do be aware if you're looking down that route, that 10K route and that new one out there, it's a bit of a different beast from this and the G430 Max. So do be aware of that. But overall, I've given price 4 out of 5 because brand new, I think 5 out of 5. Second-hand market, I think 3 out of 5. So average it out at 4 out of 5. So there you go. There's my overall review, and obviously looking at this club. I think it's a great club. It's Ping. You know it's going to be amazing when it comes down to forgiveness. Feel of it is definitely an improvement from what I've tried from Ping before as well. The only thing I could probably never get used to is the noise, and that's that full titanium. I mean, that sounds quite dull there, but believe me, it's not dull at all when you hit it properly. It is a massive, massive crack. Some of you might like it, some of you may not. But for me, the noise of it, I think I just couldn't put it in the bag because of the noise, even though, believe me, I will probably regret doing it because I'm actually going to be giving this to a friend of mine. I guarantee I'm going to play with him and he's going to hit every single fairway and I'm going to be looking at him, why the hell did I not put that in the bag myself? But anyway, never mind. So overall, fantastic club. If you're looking for ultimate forgiveness and you forget about the noise, this is the club for you. If you want to save yourself a little bit of money, do check out the G400 Max from a couple of years ago. It's a 10K driver, doesn't have the adjustability, cheap in the second-hand market at the moment. and does go a little bit further than this, actually. And a lot of the reviews at the time as well said that it went a little bit further than this. However, I still think this is a lot more consistent over that G430 Max, even though the MOI is supposed to be the same, if not a little bit higher in the Max. Sometimes just the way it works. Okay, guys, now I really do hope you enjoyed this video. You know, the sun is beaming in now late in the day when I'm filming this, which is lovely. It's been raining all day, so it's nice to get a little bit of sun in the evening here in the UK. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Give it a like, sorry, if you did enjoy it. Remember to subscribe to the channel as well for more weekly ACS golf reviews and a few other videos coming up over the next couple of months. And do comment down below, you know, do you play Ping? You know, do you like the noise of it yourself if you do play them? You know, and also what model do you play and how have you found it? Yeah, really interested to know. All right, guys, I will see you soon for the next ACS Golf Scale. ACS Golf video. I always want to say ACS Golf Scale. I'll see you soon for the next ACS Golf video. See you then. Bye-bye.